As a small business owner, you know one of the biggest headaches with all of your business finances is figuring out how much to pay in estimated taxes. Now, you might just rely on your CPA and get those coupons and you pay those amounts very religiously every single time, but have you ever been burned by that? I know that I have. I know of business owners that have, because either they way overpay or way underpay, and they're still surprised at the end of the year when they have their tax bill. So what I did to help with this is that a couple years ago, I developed an estimated tax calculator, and I've had lots of customers buy this, and I try to keep the price super low so that we can accurately estimate our taxes every year without just relying on those coupons from your CPA. Because what we don't want to do is we don't want to way overpay the IRS or way underpay the IRS and then get hit with that huge tax bill. So I want to show you today is the 2026 evolution of this tax calculator that I've created. So we update the tax calculator every single year. You can always go and grab that. It's in Excel, but we have moved it online. We have made a web app now, and it is available, and I wanted to show it to you guys. So I'm really excited about it. I do have the Excel spreadsheet up. I'm just gonna pop that open real quick and kind of show you it, and if you haven't seen it before. It was sold originally on our Clara CFO, the old YouTube channel, and we used to have lots of videos on that. I will still post those below because they're still very valid on how to use the calculator. But now we have this kind of upgraded version. It's a little sleeker, a little easier to use, and you don't have to have Excel skills to be able to do it. So if that sounds good to you, you can stay tuned. I want to show you this. And if you're interested in checking it out and finding it for yourself, you can go to claracfo.com/taxcalculator26 to go ahead and get your copy of this. Okay. So I'm going to hop in and show you guys what we have created for you. All right, first, so here is the estimated tax worksheet. And this worksheet is something that we have updated every year for about the last 4 years, where you can put in your estimated income and anything, specific about you. If you have self-employment tax, you can fill this out, and then you can use the tax rate schedules for 2026 to calculate what your tax is gonna be. And so there is a ability to give instructions. So what I do have on here is I have a video that will show you instructions on how to use this. So that is there, and it's linked here in the spreadsheet. But what we're going to walk through is this example here. So when we put in all this income, we essentially get the total amount due down at the bottom for taxes. So what I'm going to show you now is I'm going to show you the web app. So some people really don't like Excel, and I totally get that. So I was like, you know what if we could do this with all the ability to create web apps these days and things that we can do online and using our AI friends as well? How can we figure out how to do that, but do it in a more beautiful way? So what we have here is we have the 2026 estimated tax calculator developed by Clara CFO Group. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to plug in these same numbers that we had in the example file that I just showed you. And so we had a married, filing jointly couple. They had 2 W-2 salaries of $100,000. I can add another source here. I can add another source here, and then I can keep adding sources if I had other income. I could put that in there. But right now I just have those 3 sources based on my thing over here. And when I change the filing status, it also will change the standard deduction amount. But if you want to put in an itemized deduction, you can put in a direct amount there. But I'm going to keep it simple and just use the standard deduction. So already this is calculated over here on the side based on just that AGI and the deductions, what taxable income would be, and then what the federal income tax would be. And that's based on the 2026 tax rate schedules, okay? Now, what we also have in here is we have self-employment tax that you can put in here. Anything else, because this is an S corporation, we're not putting self-employment tax, but if you had some of these other items that are listed in the Schedule 1040 ES, you can go ahead and put those numbers in here. And then this is also to help you figure out your safe harbor so that you're paying enough in on estimated taxes, but also we're trying not to pay too much because we want to hold on to our cash, right? So there is always this rule of like, based on what your prior year tax is, you need to consider that when you're thinking about your total tax payment for the current year. So last year, this couple paid $35,000 in taxes, and then they did have the expected withholdings from their paychecks to be about $30,000. So, and then they already paid in estimated taxes $1,000. Okay. So over here on the side, this is going to give you a lot of information. So it's going to say, what is 90% of your current expected tax amount? So this is the current expected tax amount up here. It's also calculated effective rate and a marginal rate for you. The calculation and the marginal rate is where you're actually ending up in the tax bracket that your last dollar sort of ends up. And there's this great tax bracket breakdown here that says you're taxed at 10% up to this amount, you're taxed at 12% for this amount of your income, you're taxed at 22% for this amount of income, and then the last little bit is taxed at that 24%. So love that little breakdown because I feel like it really helps clarify like the whole tax bracket concept. So this estimated tax payments, you need to pay at least 90% of your current year expected tax by the January 15th deadline if you want to make sure you're avoiding all penalties. And then there's also a safe harbor if you pay up to 110% of your last year's prior tax. If your AGI is over 150, it's $3,800, but since they were over 150, they have that number. If it had been under 150, then this would have calculated for them. So they did have a required annual payment of $33,721. Now this is not saying that this is your exact tax amount. It's saying that this is the amount you need to pay in order to avoid penalties. Okay. This is closer to the total tax due. Now we don't have all of the little nuances that might change your tax account. And I don't know, what your capital gains taxes and things like that are. That's not the point of the 1040 ES. This is just kind of helping us get like, did we pay enough in estimated taxes in order to avoid penalties? So in order to do that, we have this calculation here. So we did have W-2 withholdings already kind of taking care of a lot of that liability. And this is saying like, hey, you need to be making some additional payments. And it's recommending a quarterly payment of $930. You've already paid $1,000 in. So the remaining still owed would be $2,721. That's the exact amount that my calculator spreadsheet calculated as well. And this is just a nice, pretty clean, easy way to get it done a little faster. So asterisk on all of this, you need to remember that you might have some unique tax situations that are not going to make this calculator work perfectly for you. So take it all with a grain of salt. Use this as a tool in your tool belt. It is not the end all be all. Don't come after me if your tax bill ends up being higher because you plugged in a wrong number. This is just to be used as an analysis tool for you. It is not a IRS document, and it is not anything that besides just a fancy online calculator. Okay, so if you understand the numbers to put in it, it will be helpful for you. If you are not understanding, you could potentially get your accountant to help you with this, or maybe you need to go and just have a conversation with them instead. Okay, so estimating your own taxes is kind of like a more advanced step if you're new to taxes. So go and make sure you watch my other videos explaining why we pay estimated taxes and what to think about when you're paying them. And hopefully this will be another tool in your tool belt. And if you want to grab a copy of this, you can go to claracfo.com/taxcalculator26. We will put a link in the description box below. And then when you get the download, which will be the Excel spreadsheet, in the very first tab, this is password protected, you will get the link to the tax calculator, and then you will also get the password to be able to log into it. Okay, so I hope this has been really helpful to you. And if you end up using this and it's helpful, please do let me know. I really love the web app interface. And if you have any suggestions for improvements, I'm also open to hearing about that as well. All right, thank you so much. I will say too, we're working on accountant pricing for this. So this is meant to be one business, one calculator. If you are an accountant, I would very much appreciate it if you use the accountant version for that. So thank you so much. All right, everybody, I will see you in the next video.